So recently I got this cool 3D printer and I've been going crazy online trying to find files to print out for RC parts to make my RC cars better, and that's when I got this crazy idea. Let's take my RC10 gold pan, try to find all the free files available that other people have created for it online, print them out, show you guys how the car ends up looking like, and then drive it around. Welcome back to Jacobus RC, where we buy, bash, and build used RC cars. This video is kind of special because it's the holidays and I was just gifted this right here. Now, it's not an RC car, but what you're looking at here is basically what's called the filament, or the ink that a 3D printer uses to print out all different types of parts and figurines and stuff like that. And I'm pretty excited because, as you can see, this one has tons of different colors within the roll. So when I start printing out these parts, they're gonna come out with multiple different colors. So I'm excited and curious to see how these kind of end out. Another thing too with this little experiment, with this little video, is that I wanna show you guys how many different parts are available, or I guess files are available for vintage RC cars like the RC10 online right now for you guys to print out for free if you have a 3D printer, so you can kind of dust off your old vintage RC cars like your RC10 and get it up and running again. To give a quick intro on everything I'm going to be using in this video, this is my RC10 Championship Edition. If you haven't watched my video on this guy right here, go back, check out my RC10 playlist to see how I got it for so dang cheap and how you guys can get yourself one of your own for cheap as well. Next is my 3D printer. It's an Ender 3 that I got for $120, and if you know me, then you know that I bought this 100% used and that it was for a darn good price. It's got all the bells and whistles already on it, and I'm not sure if you guys want a breakdown of it. Leave me a comment down below if you have any questions about 3D printing or anything like that. I'm still learning myself, but hopefully I can help you guys out, and maybe I can release a video later on about this. And finally, this is where all the gold is, literally for your gold pan. Go to this site right here, Thingiverse.com, and type in gold pan or RC10, and you can see all the different files for parts people have created for you to use for free. Credits and a big thanks to all the files and people that created those files that I'll use in this video down in the description below. Anyways, here on Thingiverse, as you can see, RC10 up at the top, and just showing you guys a little bit of flavor of what's on here. So right off of the bat, top left there, if you want to take your RC10 and convert it into a snowmobile ski, well, now you can. There's a parts for it there that you can download. There's also some battery straps down here. Those are always easy to lose. You can always, print these out and have 5, 10 as spares. Then we have some front and rear A-arms, so that's pretty interesting. I'm definitely downloading those. Also, there's a bell crank steering setup here, so this is definitely a part that I need. Mine is kind of a Frankenstein bell crank right now from the previous owner, so if I have the parts to fit this on, then I will print this out. So as you can see, there's tons of different parts already, and that was only the first half of a page. There's 5 more pages down here, so without boring you guys any further, let's see what parts I managed to print out. Alright, so here on my table I have all the parts that I printed out, starting from the front all the way to the back. And don't worry about the original parts, guys. I'll be sure to keep those safe. Anyways, starting from the front here, we have these A-arms, these front A-arms. Quality is not that great. They're all gold. They're gonna fit nicely against that gold pan. One of the things too, you can see all the parts are kind of a different color. One of the things that I was hoping for was for the kind of ink or filament to fill in the parts with multiple different colors, but that wasn't the case. So we have kind of an assortment of all different colored parts, which I still think is pretty cool, and I try to kind of match them. So next up we have this front shock tower. It's gonna pop right nicely on the gold pan. This right here, this right here is the body post mount here. So this one's in purple, the rear one's also matching in purple here. Now this is a battery tray. My lipo actually doesn't fit on the original battery tray, and rather than cut the original up, I'm just gonna use this cut up a little hole here so my lipo can fit. Next up we have the rear bulkhead. This part took the longest to print, as you can see. I like it. It has the RC10 engraved in there. Shout out to the person that created this part, because I think it's gonna really pop with the rear shock tower that we'll touch on in a second. Next we have the rear arms. You can see they have this little indent here for the drivetrain, these 3 holes here for different shock mount setups. Well, this is actually a transmission brace. I printed it out because it has this cool, you know, associated logo on here. I don't think it's gonna fit. I think this was meant for one of the earlier models, but we'll see if this fits. It's pretty cool. These are actually wing mount kind of tabs. These are probably the most common parts that are kind of lost. So you can easily have about, you know, 10 sets of these ready to go. And then my favorite is this rear shock tower. You can see RC10, and once you kind of hook it up to the bulkhead, you can see RC10 peeping through right there, and then RC10 up at the top. Let's go ahead and put these parts on my RC10 and see how it looks like. This is how the car looks. Right off the bat, you'll notice that there are some parts missing. I don't have the purple body post on the front or rear. I did end up breaking one of the rear arms while I was trying to put it on, but that was my mistake. We're gonna run out here in this little dirt gravel area, see how it holds up through one battery pack, and we'll take it back home, inspect it, and see what ended up breaking off and what didn't break off. So let's get to it. Alright, so back inside, the RC10 with the 3D printed parts ended up holding up just fine on that dirt and little gravel field out there. I know I wasn't launching it, I wasn't really testing these parts, but it held up great, and if you're just going to be driving it around in that sort of condition, then this is what to expect. I didn't really touch on a couple of the adjustments that I made, but I did have to kind of drill in a new little hole here for this ball cup attachment to the camber link right here. As you can see, sitting nice and straight. Before, it had some weird camber going on. These holes and the dimensions on the bulkhead weren't right, so I corrected that. Also, to the front shock tower, the original hole that was 3D printed wasn't correct, and you can't really tell, but I did end up correcting this as well. And if you do end up 3D printing some of these parts, be sure to have like a little drill bit with the right diameter of the hinge pins, the screws, everything that's going in, because when you print them out, the holes aren't really the right diameter, so you're gonna need that handy to be able to fit all these little things in there. So there you have it. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to stick around and watch some of my next upcoming videos on these playlists, and subscribe to stay tuned for more videos.